Those words hit me like a sledgehammer to the chest. My wife Sarah's drunken laughter echoed through our kitchen window as I stood frozen in our backyard, garden hose still running in my trembling hand. The poor idiot actually thinks I love him, she continued, her voice carrying clearly through the summer night air. David's so predictable, works his boring job, comes home, watches TV. Meanwhile, I'm having the time of my life with Marcus. Her friends giggled. Wine glasses clinked. I turned off the hose. The silence felt deafening. My name is David Chen. For 15 years, I've been the guy everyone calls reliable. At Hartwell Insurance, I process claims with methodical precision. At home, I fix leaky faucets and remember anniversaries. I believed my steady nature was what Sarah loved about me. Apparently, I was wrong about everything. I crept closer to the kitchen window. Sarah sat at our dining table with three friends from her yoga class. Empty wine bottles littered the surface. Her cheeks were flushed, eyes glassy. "How long has this been going on?" asked Jennifer, our neighbor. 8 months, Sarah said proudly. Marcus is everything David isn't. Spontaneous, exciting, rich. She took another sip. David thinks I'm working late at the marketing firm. Instead, I'm at Marcus's penthouse. My legs felt weak. 8 months. All those late nights she claimed were client meetings. All those weekend work retreats. All those times I'd made her favorite dinner, only to eat alone when she texted about sudden overtime. "Aren't you worried he'll find out?" asked Lisa. Sarah snorted. "David, please." The man couldn't find a clue if it bit him. He's too trusting, too boring, too safe. She practically spat the last word. "I married security, but I deserve passion." Jennifer leaned forward. "What's your end game here?" "Marcus is getting divorced next month. Once that's finalized, I'll leave David. Take half of everything, of course. His retirement fund, the house equity, everything." Sarah's smile turned predatory. 15 years of marriage means I'm entitled to plenty. My hands clenched into fists. 15 years of love, loyalty, and partnership, reduced to a financial calculation. I backed away from the window. My mind raced. What should I do? Burst in and confront her? Call a lawyer? Pack my bags and disappear? No, I needed proof first. Evidence. Sarah clearly thought I was too stupid to fight back. Time to prove her wrong. I slipped inside through the front door. The women's voices continued in the kitchen. I climbed the stairs to our bedroom, my heart pounding so loud I was sure they'd hear it. Sarah's laptop sat on her nightstand. She'd always been careless with passwords. I'd seen her type it dozens of times. Marcus 2024. The screen lit up. My stomach twisted as I navigated to her email. There it was. Months of correspondence with Marcus Blackwood. The subject lines alone made me nauseous. "Can't wait for tonight, baby. David's working late again. When you leave him, we'll travel the world." I opened the most recent thread. Photos loaded. Sarah in lingerie I'd never seen. Sarah kissing a man with silver hair and expensive clothes. Sarah in hotel rooms, restaurants, locations I didn't recognize. My phone buzzed. A text from Sarah in the kitchen. "Girls' night running late. Don't wait up. Love you." Love me. The lie burned. I forwarded the email thread to myself, then deleted the sent message from her account. Years of IT training at the insurance company finally paid off. I covered my digital tracks perfectly. Downstairs, the women were getting louder. "You're so lucky," Lisa slurred. "I wish I had your courage." "It's not courage," Sarah replied. "It's intelligence. Why settle for a Honda when you can drive a Ferrari?" I was the Honda, apparently. Reliable but unexciting. I retreated to the basement. My hands shook as I forwarded the evidence to my personal email account. Then I started researching. Marcus Blackwood, CEO of Blackwood Development, married to Victoria Blackwood, heiress to a pharmaceutical fortune. Interesting. Very interesting. I dug deeper. Marcus had been married 3 times before Victoria. Each divorce had been messy, expensive, public. The man collected wives like trophies, then discarded them when someone newer caught his eye. Sarah had no idea what she was walking into, but I wasn't going to warn her. Not anymore. The next morning, Sarah nursed a hangover while I made coffee. She looked pale, fragile. Part of me wanted to comfort her out of habit. The larger part remembered her laughter as she called me stupid. "How was girls' night?" I asked casually. "Fine, just boring work talk." She couldn't meet my eyes. "Jennifer drank too much. You know how she gets." I nodded sympathetically. "I'm glad you had fun. You worked so hard lately." Sarah's face flickered with something. Guilt? Doubt? It vanished quickly. "I have another late meeting tonight," she said. "Probably won't be home until after midnight." "Of course, I'll save you dinner." She kissed my cheek before leaving. The gesture felt like a betrayal. I called in sick to work, first time in 3 years. Then I drove to downtown, parking across from the Blackwood Development Building. At 11:47 a.m., Sarah's red Camry pulled into the executive parking garage. She wasn't supposed to be here. Her marketing firm was across town. I waited. At 12:15, she emerged with Marcus Blackwood. He was exactly what I'd expected. Tall, confident, expensive suit. Everything I wasn't. They walked to a nearby restaurant, hands intertwined. Sarah threw her head back, laughing at something he said. She looked happier than I'd seen her in years. That hurt more than I'd expected. I followed them inside, taking a table in the corner. They were too absorbed in each other to notice me. Sarah fed Marcus bites of her salad. He whispered in her ear, making her blush. They looked like a real couple. Not an affair, a relationship. My phone buzzed. A text from Sarah. "Swamped at work today. Might have to work through lunch." I looked up. She was kissing Marcus across their table. The rage hit me like a physical force. My vision blurred. My chest tightened. For a moment, I understood why people committed crimes of passion. But I wasn't going to lose control. I was going to win. That afternoon, I hired a private investigator. Janet Reeves came highly recommended by divorce lawyers online. We met at a coffee shop near my office. "Standard cheating spouse case?" she asked, reviewing my notes. "With complications. I need to know everything about Marcus Blackwood. His patterns, his other relationships, his business dealings, everything." Janet raised an eyebrow. "That's expensive. I have savings." 15 years of careful financial planning. Sarah thought she'd get half. She thought wrong. "Give me a week," Janet said. I went home and cooked dinner. Sarah arrived at 1:30 a.m., claiming her client meeting had run late. She smelled like expensive cologne and wine. When she kissed me goodnight, I tasted lies. I lay awake beside her, planning. Janet called 3 days later. "We need to meet. Bring a strong stomach." Her office was cramped, covered with surveillance photos and documents. She spread them across her desk like a dealer shuffling cards. "Marcus Blackwood is a serial cheater," she began. "Currently married to Victoria Blackwood, but having affairs with at least 3 women. Your wife is just one of them." The photos showed Marcus with different women: Sarah at lunch, a blonde at a hotel, a brunette at a theater, all within the same week. "He's not getting divorced," Janet continued. "His wife controls the money. He can't afford to leave her. These affairs are just entertainment." My heart sank, not for myself, for Sarah. She had no idea she was being played. "There's more," Janet said. "Blackwood Development is in financial trouble. 3 major projects have failed. Marcus is borrowing against company assets to maintain his lifestyle. The affairs, the expensive dinners, the gifts to these women, it's all borrowed money." She handed me a financial report. "He's 6 months from bankruptcy, maybe less." I stared at the numbers. Sarah was planning to leave me for a man who was about to lose everything. "What do you want to do with this information?" Janet asked. I thought about it. I could expose Marcus to his wife, destroying his marriage and finances. I could confront Sarah with proof of his other affairs. I could burn down their relationship out of spite, but that felt too small, too petty. I wanted justice, real justice. "I need you to document everything," I said. "Every affair, every lie, every fraudulent expense. Can you do that?" Janet smiled. "That's going to cost extra. Bill me." That night, Sarah came home with a new necklace. Expensive. Not her usual style. "It's beautiful," I said. "Special occasion?" She touched it nervously. "I bought it for myself. I've been working so hard lately. I recognized it from Marcus's credit card statements. Janet had been thorough. You deserve nice things, I said. You work harder than anyone I know. Sarah looked surprised by my sincerity. For a moment, her mask slipped. I saw guilt, confusion, maybe even regret. Then her phone buzzed, a text. Her face lit up as she read it. The moment passed. Over the next 2 weeks, I became the perfect husband. I brought Sarah coffee in bed. I surprised her with flowers. I listened to her fabricated stories about work stress with endless patience. She grew uncomfortable with my attention. You're being weird, David, she said one evening. All this romance isn't like you. I love you, I said simply. I want you to be happy. She stared at me for a long moment. Something flickered in her eyes. Doubt, regret, fear. I love you too, she whispered. It was the first time in months those words sounded real, but the next day she met Marcus for lunch again. Janet's final report arrived on a Thursday. 200 pages of documentation. Photos, financial records, phone logs, hotel receipts. Marcus Blackwood's entire web of lies laid bare. But I wasn't ready to use it yet. I had one more card to play. I called Victoria Blackwood's office. Getting through to a pharmaceutical heiress wasn't easy, but I'd learned persistence from 15 years of insurance claims. Mrs. Blackwood, my name is David Chen. I have information about your husband that you need to hear. Silence. Then, I'm listening. We met at her lawyer's office. Victoria was elegant, intelligent, and completely unsurprised by my revelations. I've known about Marcus's affairs for years, she said calmly. The question is, what do you want from me? I spread Janet's photos across the conference table. I want justice. For both of us. Victoria studied the evidence. Her face remained neutral, but her knuckles whitened as she gripped her purse. Your wife isn't his only current affair, I said gently. There are others. Victoria's composure cracked slightly. How many others? At least 2, maybe more. She closed her eyes. When she opened them, they were hard as diamonds. What did you have in mind, Mr. Chen? I told her my plan. It was elaborate, risky, and completely unlike anything the boring David Chen would normally attempt. Victoria smiled for the first time since I'd met her. I like it, she said. Friday night, Sarah dressed carefully for another work meeting. She wore the dress I'd bought her for our anniversary. The irony was painful. Don't wait up, she said, kissing my cheek. Have fun at work, I replied. She paused at the door. David, are we okay? You've been different lately. Different how? I don't know, more attentive. It's nice, but she trailed it off. But what? Nothing. Never mind it. I'll see you tomorrow. She left. I counted to 10, then followed. The plan was simple. Victoria had invited Marcus to a romantic dinner at the Grandview Hotel. Meanwhile, Sarah thought Marcus was taking her to the same hotel for a weekend getaway. Janet had arranged for both women to arrive at the same time. Parked across the street and waited. Sarah arrived first, looking nervous and excited. She checked her makeup in her car mirror, then walked into the hotel lobby. Victoria arrived 10 minutes later. She moved like a woman going to war. My phone buzzed. A text from Janet. Showtime. I couldn't see what happened in the lobby, but I didn't need to. Janet had positioned herself inside with a camera. The confrontation would be documented. 20 minutes later, Sarah burst through the hotel doors. Her face was streaked with tears, her carefully styled hair disheveled. She stumbled to her car and sat there sobbing. I wanted to go to her. 15 years of marriage didn't die easily. But then I remembered her laughter, her casual cruelty, her plans to take everything I'd worked for. I stayed in my car and watched my wife fall apart. Victoria emerged next, composed but grim. She walked to her Mercedes and drove away without looking back. Marcus appeared last. His expensive suit was wrinkled, his face pale. He stood on the sidewalk looking lost, probably wondering how his perfect plan had imploded. Sarah finally started her car and drove home. I followed at a distance. She was sitting at our kitchen table when I arrived, still in her dress, staring at nothing. You're home early, I said gently. How was work? She looked up at me with red, swollen eyes. Work was difficult. I sat beside her. Want to talk about it? For a moment, I thought she might confess everything. Tell me the truth. Ask for forgiveness. Instead, she shook her head. Just a bad day. I'm going to bed. She left me alone in the kitchen. I heard her crying through the bedroom door. Part of me wanted to comfort her, but the larger part knew this was just the beginning. Saturday morning, Sarah stayed in bed. I brought her coffee and toast, playing the concerned husband. Feeling better? I asked. A little. Her voice was hoarse from crying. David, do you think people can change? Really change? The question caught me off guard. What do you mean? I mean, if someone made terrible mistakes, could they fix things? Start over? I studied her face. She looked younger somehow, vulnerable, like the woman I'd fallen in love with 20 years ago. I think people can change, I said carefully, but they have to want to, and they have to be honest about what they've done wrong. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. What if the mistakes were really bad? What if they hurt someone they loved? My heart raced. Was she about to confess? Then they'd have to accept the consequences, I said, and prove they were serious about changing. Sarah nodded slowly. She opened her mouth to speak, then closed it again. I'm going to shower, she said finally. The moment passed, again. That afternoon, my phone rang. Janet. Marcus is trying to salvage things, she reported. He's been calling your wife all day. She's not answering. What about Victoria? Filing for divorce Monday morning. She's also reporting his financial irregularities to the SEC. Marcus Blackwood is finished. I felt a grim satisfaction. Justice was coming. Sunday, Sarah barely spoke to me. She moved through our house like a ghost, touching familiar objects as if seeing them for the first time. That evening, she sat beside me on the couch while I watched TV. David, she said quietly. Yeah, I need to tell you something. My pulse quickened. Finally. I've been thinking about us, about our marriage, about what I want from life. I waited. I think I've been taking you for granted. Granted, you're a good man, a loyal man. I haven't appreciated that enough. It wasn't a confession, but it was something. What brought this on, I asked. Just perspective, seeing how other people live, realizing what really matters. She leaned against my shoulder. I love you, David. I know I don't say it enough, but I do. The words should have made me happy. Instead, they felt like another betrayal. Too little, too late. Monday morning brought news. Marcus Blackwood's arrest made the front page of the business section. Securities fraud, embezzlement, tax evasion. Victoria's lawyers had been thorough. Sarah read the article over breakfast, her face pale. Did you know him? I asked innocently. No, she said quickly. I mean, I'd heard of his company. It's terrible what happened. The article says he was having affairs. His wife found out and turned him in. I sipped my coffee. Cheating never ends well. Sarah's hand trembled as she set down her cup. That evening, she was waiting for me when I got home from work. She'd cooked my favorite meal, set candles on the table, opened a bottle of wine. What's the occasion? I asked. No occasion. I just wanted to do something nice for you. We ate in comfortable silence. Sarah kept glancing at me as if trying to memorize my face. David, she said finally. Yes. If someone you loved betrayed you, could you ever forgive them? The question hung between us like a loaded gun. That would depend, I said carefully, on how bad the betrayal was, whether they were truly sorry, whether they were willing to make things right. Sarah nodded, tears gathered in her eyes. I have something to tell you, she whispered. This was it, the moment of truth. I'm listening, I said. She took a shaky breath. I've been, she stopped, struggling with the words. My phone rang, the moment shattered. Don't answer it, Sarah said desperately. But I'd already seen the caller ID, Janet Reeves. I have to take this, I said. Work emergency. I stepped into the next room. What is it, Janet? Marcus Blackwood tried to kill himself tonight. He's in the hospital. Thought you should know. I felt no sympathy, only cold satisfaction. Will he survive? Probably, but his life is over. No money, no wife, no business, facing federal charges. Your wife picked a real winner. I hung up and returned to the dining room. Sarah was gone. I found her in the bedroom packing a suitcase. Going somewhere, I asked. She didn't look up. I think I need some time away. To think. To figure things out. How long? I don't know, maybe permanently. She was running, just like I'd expected. Sarah, stop. Something in my voice made her freeze. We need to talk, I said. She turned slowly. Her face was streaked with tears. I know, I said simply. Know what? Everything. Marcus, the affair, your plans to leave me and take half of everything I've worked for. Sarah's face went white. David, I heard you that night, talking to your friends, laughing about how stupid I was. She sank onto the bed. Oh, God. 8 months, Sarah. 8 months you lied to my face every single day. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry. Or are you just sorry you got caught? She looked up at me with desperate eyes. I know you won't believe me, but it's over. Marcus and it's finished. I realized I made a terrible mistake. Because he got arrested? Because his wife found out about his other affairs? Sarah's face crumpled. You know about the others? I know everything. The financial fraud, the multiple women, the fact that he was never going to leave his wife. I sat down across from her. You were just one of his toys, Sarah. He was using you. She buried her face in her hands. I'm such an idiot. No argument here. She looked up, stung by my coldness. David, please. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but you're right. You don't. I pulled out my phone and showed her the photos Janet had taken. Sarah and Marcus at restaurants. Sarah and Marcus at hotels. Sarah and Marcus kissing in parking garages. I have everything, I said. Every lie, every deception, every cruel thing you said about me. Sarah stared at the evidence of her betrayal. What are you going to do? That depends on you. What do you mean? I leaned forward. You have 2 choices. Option 1, I file for divorce, release all this evidence, and destroy you in court. You'll get nothing from me, and everyone will know exactly what kind of person you are. Sarah's face went pale. And option 2? You sign a postnuptial agreement. You get to stay married to your boring, reliable husband. But you give up any claim to my assets. And you spend the rest of our marriage proving you deserve a second chance. She stared at me in shock. You'd stay married to me? After everything? 15 years don't disappear overnight, Sarah. I loved you once. Maybe I can learn to love you again. But it would be on my terms, completely. What terms? Full access to your phone, email, social media. You quit your job and find something local. No more late nights, no more business trips, no more girls' nights without me. You earn back my trust one day at a time. Sarah was quiet for a long moment. And if I choose option 1, then pack your bags tonight. My lawyer will be in touch tomorrow. She looked at the suitcase on our bed, then back at me. You've changed, David. You're not the same man I married. No, I'm not. That man was naive, trusting, easy to manipulate. I stood up. This man isn't. Sarah closed her eyes. When she opened them, they were filled with something I hadn't seen in years. Respect. I choose option 2, she whispered. Are you sure? This isn't a negotiation, Sarah. These are the terms. Take them or leave them. I'm sure, I nodded. The postnup will be ready tomorrow. Sign it and we'll see if this marriage is worth saving. Sarah looked at me with new eyes. Who are you? I'm the man you called too stupid to realize what you were doing. Turns out I'm smarter than you thought. 6 months later, Sarah and I were sitting in marriage counseling. She'd signed the post-nuptial agreement without reading it. She'd quit her job and found work at a local nonprofit. She'd given me complete access to her digital life. Most importantly, she'd stopped lying. It wasn't easy. Trust, once broken, doesn't heal quickly. But Sarah was trying, really trying. She was patient when I was cold, understanding when I was angry, honest when I asked difficult questions. Slowly, carefully, we were building something new. Not the naive love of our early marriage, but something stronger, more honest. Do you think you'll ever forgive me completely? Sarah asked one evening. I considered the question. I don't know, but I think I'm willing to try. She nodded. That's more than I deserve. Yes, it is. We sat in comfortable silence, watching the sunset through our kitchen window, the same window where I'd overheard her betrayal a year ago. David? Sarah said quietly. Yeah? Thank you for giving me a second chance. Thank me by earning it. She smiled. It was the first real smile I'd seen from her in years. My phone buzzed. A text from Janet Reeves. Marcus Blackwood, sentenced to 8 years federal prison. Thought you'd want to know. I deleted the message without showing Sarah. That chapter was closed. I looked at my wife, really looked at her. She was different now, humbler, more genuine. The arrogance and entitlement were gone, replaced by gratitude and determination. Maybe we could make this work. Maybe trust could be rebuilt. Maybe love could grow from the ashes of betrayal. Or maybe it would all fall apart again. Either way, I wasn't the same naive man who'd been watering his garden that night. I was stronger now, smarter. I'd learned that sometimes the people who call you stupid are the ones making the biggest mistakes. And I'd learned that real strength isn't about revenge. It's about choosing your own terms for forgiveness. Sarah reached across the table and took my hand. I love you, David. I know, I said. I'm starting to believe you mean it. For the first time in a year, that felt like enough.